Welcome back to the show, everybody. I forgot to hit the on button. Welcome back to the show. We got a great one for you this morning. Top player from the NFL draft wants to receive his signing bonus in cryptocurrencies. We're going to take a look at that, but it gets bigger, ladies and gentlemen. Stephen Thomas from Ripple and Coil says, watch out for Codius. Now, I have to ask, could it become the Ethereum killer? We will get into that. And then we're going to also talk about the World Economic Forum. And guess what? Glenn Hutchins is there. Guess what else? There's some ties between Glenn Hutchins and the host of the show. Guess what else? Western Union there. We're going to hear from the CEO of Western Union. You know what he's going to talk about? The fact that they're using a bridge currency. What? Let's just roll this beautiful intro.
This is Digital Perspectives with Brad Kimes. Subscribe for new content notifications. Now, here's Brad Kimes. Come on in.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. You can follow me on Twitter at BackupBradleyAbove, and everything that we're talking about here. Premium domain NFT sales continue starting next week. We will have May 4th, the business category for domains will kick open. For the first time, you can get ads.crypto, jobs, trade, and market.crypto, and many, many more. And as you can see here in the crypto blockchain, you can get coin.crypto and moon.crypto. And believe me, there's many others. They don't all cost $100,000 or $50,000. Make sure you hit the link in the description and comment section and check all of those out. And a few days from now, there's going to be massive announcement from Unstoppable Domains, and you're going to want to hear what it is, so make sure you stay tuned. And here we look at the numbers very quickly here. The cryptocurrency market cap right now is $2.2 trillion collectively. That is a very big number. The world is watching. Bitcoin 57,000 plus, Ethereum 2,800 plus, XRP is $1.56. We're up 47.11% on the 7-day and off by 3.5% on the 24-hour. We will keep an eye on it. The technical analyst, if you haven't seen the video from this morning, please go watch that. We do a much deeper look into what the experts and the chart experts are seeing. And right now, the fact that we're ranging between $1.53 and $1.61 is really good news, because we're above that 142, 146 price point that everyone has cited in this space, that it watches the charts as massive resistance levels, which have now gone way beyond, and we have support well above. So keep an eye on that. Watch that first video. Make sure you check it out. We are headed for an upside according to them. Now take a look at this, because boom. Hashtag zero doubt, link to there's no excuses. Don't wait for an opportunity. Create one. That's what being in this space is all about. You want a chance to get private equity? You don't have to worry about whether you meet the financial requirement anymore. If you don't meet the financial requirement anymore, or not anymore, but if you don't meet the financial requirement, you can simply take the Series 65 test. That's what you can do. And it is a link for that in the description, as well as link to go register with them, go take the test, and make sure you take a hold of your future. Don't wait for an opportunity, create one. It is incredible. Look at this too, by the way. Coinbase was originally listed as private equity on Link2. Now, this is why I talk about this, and the fact that they've gone out of their way to try to bring the resources to people like us so we can get past the financial requirement hurdle, right? And right here, you can see Coinbase recently exited via direct listing, and its shares are trading for $300 plus range. And when they were on Link2 investors were in at $32 per share last year. Come on in. How do you think it would feel for you to take advantage of that test and not let the financial requirements get in your way, but study up, empower yourself, take the test, get certified, and then you being in the same position as some of the people that were taking advantage of that? That, to me, is incredible. And anytime you can take avenues to empower yourself, it is absolutely huge. And I think that's what we're all doing collectively, or we at least believe that's what we're doing in this space. So make sure you check it out. Trevor Lawrence says, I'm going to go ahead and empower myself. He says, for my signing bonus, I want it in crypto. And that is a very big deal for what? mass adoption, brand awareness, getting the consumer, the citizens that don't deal with crypto, they don't know the difference between Bitcoin and Ethereum or Bitcoin and XRP. They don't know the difference between any of that stuff. And they need to see this kind of forward motion and public kind of reveal to let them know that this technology, these cryptos, are absolutely here to stay. So really shout out to it is Trevor Lawrence, who appears to be going to be picked up by the Jacksonville Jaguars, and I wish him well in his career right while we're here and we're at it. So let's keep this going, because the news is going to get really heavy really quickly, and it's all really good. Here we go from Wrath of Conman and XRP Darren. If you're not following Darren Moore on Twitter or YouTube, shame on you, because you're the one missing out. And you should be following Wrath of Conman too. There's no question. These two actually put out really great content. So I would suggest following both of these gentlemen. Now here he says, everything old is new again. CGI was helping a consortium of banks for Singapore using Ripple in 2017. Darren Moore had the original poll here. So let's go ahead and take a look at this here. And it says, together CGI, Bank of Montreal, Royal Bank of Canada, Mitsubishi UFG Financial Group, and those are actually Ripple partners too for many, many years. For the first time, a trade finance platform and blockchain-based platform were integrated to demonstrate how banks would be able to provide trade finance services digitally to their customers conducting business on blockchain B2B platforms. Here we see enabling a government bank consortium to address fraud. Banks across Singapore were challenged by proliferation of fraudulent invoices and duplicate financing. Working with Singapore government and consortium bank, CGI used Ripple to address invoice fraud associated with companies claiming to engage the shipping business. Now listen to here. Under a smart contract blockchain-enabled process, invoices were shared on permissioned blockchains, agreed upon, stored and shared in near real-time transparency for the blockchain participants. The solution enabled the governments to automatically validate the authenticity of invoices by checking their records for receipt of goods, freeing the source bank from taking on the risk of fraud. The end payment becomes a block in the blockchain connecting the government, shipping company, and the banks through a distributed single source of truth. Now that is how you change the world, ladies and gentlemen. And that's not all, because this sets up where we're going to go here. Remember Codius? For the OGs in this space, you'll know what Codius is. Codius is a smart contract platform that was built and really pushed pretty hard in the early days of Ripple. And then all of a sudden it felt like it went away and it kind of backed off. Well, guess what? It never did go away. This is from Digital Asset Investor right here, who reminds us with this tweet, think of cross-border payments as a nice testing ground to prepare Ripple for the use case they have been focused on since the very beginning. The true intentions of Ripple are to handle 100% of the transactions which take place in derivatives market. So why do they not make this public knowledge? For multiple reasons. The most important one being that they are not ready. They are missing a piece to the puzzle, and that piece is called Codius. What is Codius? Codius is the most advanced smart contract platform that will ever exist. The project was said to be put on hold in 2015. That was not true, they say. It was never put on hold. Well, here's evidence of that right here. This is Stephen Thomas responding to a tweet that he had, and then some comments in the tweet. Web monetization on Solid. Then he has here awesome posts from the person regarding web monetization support, knowing that Stephen Thomas also responsible for Coil. He says, I'm excited where this could go in combination with Interledger. Remember, the ILP, the Interledger protocol, was gifted to the World Wide Web Consortium. That's right, the W3, which is the international body, the standards body committee that oversees the practices of the internet internationally. So that's where the ILP went to after Stephen Thomas had created that at Ripple. And then he goes on to say here, because Yogi Bear says, wait, Codius is still an ongoing project because, as we heard before, that it was appeared to be stopped. And Stephen Thomas says, yes, I believe that Interledger is prerequisite here. But as ILP becomes established, Codius will emerge as a far superior way to implement most smart contracts compared to ledger-locked approaches like Ethereum 1.0 and 2.0 and XRP ledger hooks. How about that one? So we'll try to be ready, he says. Now that to me is like, watch out, people. We got big things coming here. Now, what I want to do is just show you very quickly that, look, Codius, I mean, you have to ask yourself with ADA Cardano, right? With Flare Networks, with even XRP Ledger's hooks, which is apparently like smart contracts, but like the Diet Lite version. Right. And then you have the announcement that Codius has really just been waiting for the interoperability of the Interledger protocol to be picked up and adopted broadly so they can actually have Codius work in the manner that it's supposed to. I tell you, you can't. It's not smart to turn a blind eye to what Codius might be able to do here. Now, looking here, we look at the recovery and resilience. Denmark, Spain, Latvia, and Luxembourg submit official recovery and resilience plans to the European Commission. I just want to highlight for you, just so you see the theme of where things are moving internationally here. It says here on number 2, resilient infrastructures and ecosystems, where they're putting their money to build back stronger, as they say at the IMF, right? And then here again at number 5, modernizing and digitizing modernizing and digitization of ecosystem and of our companies. And this is really the standard here that you see for the plan. Now, this is Spain, but I'm just showing you one of what is basically the uniformed approach by all of these countries. I'm not going to go through all of them because it's pretty much the same. So, but where I want to move to now is you remember the deal we had with Ripple and MoneyGram, and that has since been dissolved. Right? And they may revisit that in the future, but it went very well. And we know that we know that MoneyGram used on-demand liquidity in the settlement with XRP through USD Mexican corridor. And I think they expanded before they stopped to Philippine corridor in Mexican. I'm not sure, pesos. But they at least did the USD to Mexican corridor for sure. And that was an incredible live test to show that RippleNet and on-demand liquidity could serve the needs of a company in real time in the FX market for a market maker, right? And obviously you could scale that solution to serve the world in cross-border transactions with XRP being used as a bridge currency between all the money of the world, right? Well, that conversation continues. Take a look at this. This was from just a little more than a year ago from Stephen Bull Deep here. And you'll remember Western Union was back considering and testing XRP. They did an initial test, I think in 2018, where they only tried like 8 transactions and then said, you know what, we're not going to use it. But then there was this that surfaced about a year ago. And what it was them saying they are still testing and considering the use of Ripple XRP for cross-border payments. And then they say Ripple's made a $50 million investment in Western Union, competitor to MoneyGram. Now we will take a look at this because this is the World Economic Forum, and there's some interesting things about the participants in this World Economic Forum as well as what is said. Now let's just listen to the first few seconds here.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the session on resetting digital currencies. The theme of this year's forum, as you know, is a crucial year to rebuild trust. And of course, for those of you working in the digital currency community, it has indeed felt like every year has been a crucial year to build trust. My name is Elizabeth Rossiello, and I am the founder and CEO of AZA. We are the largest non-bank currency broker in Africa, and I was a technology pioneer at the World Economic Forum for the last forum.
First of all, that's incredible right there. Elizabeth Rossiello is really a pioneer in this space, and I don't mind telling you that. And I wanted to show you this about AZA Finance of Elizabeth Rossiello. By the way, she is in fact partnered with, and let me get him up here so you can see, this guy, which happens to be Glenn Hutchins. You will see him in just a second here when the video loads. But the reality is that Elizabeth Raziello has definitely connected AZA Finance with Glenn Hutchins. He is an investor and a backer in her company. And that is extremely exciting to see that. There he is right there. Now, I'm going to go back in a second to a different time point, but I want to show you this from the Cryptic Poet from just a few days ago about AZA. AZA Finance, now partner with Glenn Hutchins in that World Economic Forum conference that we're getting ready to go back to, right? Just bought Ripple Partner Exchange for free to become the biggest Africa non-bank FX firm. Well, this is interesting because we know that, Exchange for Free is partnered, in fact, with Ripple and RippleNet, right? So the hope is today we announced 5 new customers, and this shows you that Ripple is, in fact, tied to Exchange for Free and the power payments through RippleNet and access new markets. And now that AZA now purchases that, you have to ask the question, will they be using RippleNet? And they don't need the US or the SEC's approval to do it. But again, I digress. Back to this because there is some straight fire that comes out of this. I want to show you here. Now remember, the name of this conference is Resetting Digital Currencies Part 1. This is Her Majesty Queen Maxima of the Netherlands. I want you to hear just a little bit of what she says about the system and how we got caught in the last crash without things being backed properly in the finance world. And then she says, if whatever we do new has to be fiscally backed. Listen.
So that's extremely important to realize that we've actually went through these situations. What is actually very important is that what happened in the end is that going back to the governance issue, is that the Bank of Amsterdam, they were actually very chummy with some of the traders and they overstretched their indebtedness to some of the traders. And of course, that meant the fall of the guilder at that point, in which the Bank of England took over as a European, I would say, currency of the day, which basically gives us, again, how important the governance on a stable currency, how important the design is, that it has to be stable, but at the same time flexible enough, and it has to be able to provide sufficient liquidity. So, and the last thing is some kind of fiscal backing, because that's actually
some kind of fiscal backing. And what are we talking about here? Resetting digital currencies. What's been the understanding and the notion about XRP? XRP has always been about what? All the money, right? And what do we know about XRP? We know that they are, in fact, working with central banks around the world, right? And what are they working with them around the world to do? They are working with them around the world to do what? They are working with them. I'll tell you what they're doing. They're working with them around the world so they can build their own private network on the XRP Ledger open source technology. And why are they doing that, Brad? Well, I'm glad you asked. Well, they're doing that because it's about all the money. It's about all the money. The USD to Thai baht, gold to USD, Indian rupee to euro, Swiss franc to UK pound, you name it. Add in Codius and what Stephen Thomas is talking about, and we got supply chains and trade wrapped up into this whole thing too, right? Now, what's interesting about this is that if we understand, like we've talked about, where XRP could get a set or floor value from, is what, in fact, I take from what Her Majesty Queen Maxima said here about making sure that the system and the digital dollars are fiscally backed so we don't get caught like last time, right? And that's really what we're moving to. We're moving from a debt-based system to an asset-backed system. And that's what they're talking about here. Having reserves, real reserves, put aside to back the digital dollars that would be on a network like the XRP ledger, which they don't say, but I am. right? And I'm saying it because we know that central banks are looking to launch off of the XRP ledger. We know that from Brad Garlinghouse, right? Now, let's move very quickly here. They also talked to Andrew Bailey, who really out of the gate here lays it down very quickly. He's asked, are digital currencies here to stay? And this is what his answer is.
For 7 years, we've seen sentiment ping pong back and forth, and we're
history are fascinating here. I think the answer to your question is, are we here to stay? Is for digital innovation and payments, yes.
Yes. Now, for digital currencies, he goes on to say that there are some problems with some of those. I think we all know some of the things like Bitcoin may have some hurdles in front of it, just like the gas fees for the Ethereum network, and just like the actual court case that we have in the United States about the classification of what XRP is. Was that fair and balanced? I think it was. Okay, so at any rate, let's move on, because the next place I want to take you, and believe me, this entire thing is straight fire. And it is on my Twitter. You can follow it there, and watch everything there. But I want to take you now to what is said here at 10:51. Well, no, I don't want to go there. Let me move up ahead because I know the video is getting a little long. So let me take you to the real hot spot. And the real hot spot here for me is right in here. Let's listen from this mark, and this is Hikmet Ersek, who is the CEO of Western Union itself. And listen to what he says here. And I know he has a strong accent, but listen to what he says. He moves the conversation into talking about Western Union having their own token that they use as a bridge between the over 100 currencies from different nations around the world for their 21 transactions per second. Listen to this, what he says.
When we talk about digital currency, we really have to understand which digital currency serves which use cases. We at Western Union obviously serve about 200 million customers worldwide in 200 countries. And with different currencies, we in every second, we kind of process 21 transactions, 137 currencies. And as Her Majesty Queen Maxima mentioned that was first stable coin was at Netherlands, Central Bank of Netherlands, but
first central bank coin was at the Central Bank of Netherlands. Listen to what he says now.
I can tell you also that when we settle that currencies on 137 currency, we have a kind of a WU coin, Western Union coin, which we translate one currency to another currency immediately, and we keep the stable currency in the middle. And we do that 21 times every second. So I think that what I'm coming back, it's definitions of.
And there you go. And he's talking about a WU coin, a Western Union coin that they use as a bridge currency between the over 200 countries that they serve in their 21 transactions per second. Now, that to me is pretty damn interesting when we go back to the notion that last year it was announced that Ripple has made a $50 million investment in Western Union. Competitor. I'm sorry. I misspoke earlier. That was the acknowledgement of the MoneyGram investment and not Western Union. So excuse me for that. I misread that. But knowing that Ripple has made the $50 million investment and now dissolved that relationship with MoneyGram, we have to ask ourselves, is in fact Western Union the new site of where we're landing with a deal with another market maker here? This is pretty interesting. And I mean, this here is from Davos Agenda 2021. So again, excuse me for misreading that the first time. I'm sure there'll be plenty of haters on that. But they acknowledge here that Ripple had made a $50 million investment in the competitor MoneyGram, which that relationship has now been dissolved. So lends the question here, does one have to ask herself, are we now, in fact, working with Western Union? Because this whole idea of WooCoin and a bridge currency between transactions, let's listen to it one more time.
And as Her Majesty Queen Maxima mentioned, that was first stable coin was at Netherlands, Central Bank of Netherlands. But I can tell you also that when we settle that currencies on 137 currency, we have a kind of a WU coin, Western Union coin, which we translate one currency to another currency immediately, and we keep the stable currency in the middle. And we do that 21 times every second. So
That's pretty remarkable. I mean, I don't know what the answer is, but what I do know is that within this conference, you have Elizabeth Rossiello, who is now partnered with Glenn Hutchins with Asia Finance, that just bought a Ripple partner company to open up major corridors in Africa. And then you have the notion that we can't forget about last year's World Economic Forum, where they cited in the central bank digital currency development that XRP was perfect for a bridge asset and inter and intrabank payments and settlement using JPM coin and XRP. So just to highlight here, because I did misspeak just a little bit, I want to clear that up. It's so much information to keep straight. Ripple was partnered at $50 million investment with MoneyGram, not Western Union. And just to highlight that, now that they have dissolved that partnership, you have to ask yourself, with these recent comments from Mr. Hersik, is that his name? Here is it. Hikmek, excuse me about that. Hikmek. And we have to wonder now, is that in fact a connection to XRP? Because with the way he just described that, sounds exactly the way we know it is supposed to work. It is about all the money, isn't it? Didn't he just describe that the Western Union coin is between all those money transactions? Could the Western Union coin be backed by XRP? That is its job, right? So the question remains, but there it is. I am going to leave it right there. Pretty interesting information, I have to say. So we'll see where all of this leads, but it is very, very interesting. And I will catch you on the next one. Make sure you check out all the links in the description box and the comment section. Hit the like and subscribe. We just crossed 100,000 subscribers, ladies and gentlemen. I'm very grateful for each and every one of you that have hit that subscribe button and tune in every day. It means a lot to me, and I won't forget it. I'll catch all of you on the next one.